I think it's like a 10 or 12-minute video. Well, I'm not going to watch the entire thing unless it's absolutely necessary. But yeah, people are saying, Scott Pressler, quote unquote, exposed. I don't know. This is another guy on the right. So now he's going after Pressler. Let me see.
Many of you out there probably become conditioned at this point to believe that Scott Pressler registered tens of thousands of voters in 2024 and delivered Pennsylvania for President Trump.
Okay. And? Yeah.
You're welcome.
Some of you may even believe he registered hundreds of thousands of voters. And some of you believe that Scott Pressler registered and transported nearly 200,000 Amish people to vote in 2024, which is incredible, as there aren't even 90,000 Amish people in Pennsylvania, including children. And I really don't blame most of you for believing these things, as they were all part of a massive propaganda campaign leading up to the 2024 election. Because so many of you have been made to believe these falsehoods from seeing them repeated over and over again on social media, you might feel protective of Scott. And I can understand that too. I can understand all of it, because I used to feel protective of Scott Pressler too. So much so that I bent over backwards to help him in every way that I could, because I believed he really was the person that he portrayed himself to be. I too was duped by the propaganda. When I began rising up in 2018, I was instantaneously given a lot of opportunities that, frankly, many people never get. And that was never lost on me. I never wanted to make Walkaway about me. I always wanted it to be about community, teamwork, and using my platform to lift up.
So Walkaway is this organization that's just a bunch of libs, former libs, that tour the country and talk about not being liberal anymore, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other people that I thought were talented and effective and deserved a boost. Scott had been doing activism work before I started Walkaway. I admired the person who I believed him to be, and I wanted to do anything within my ability and my power to help lift him higher and help him succeed. And so I began inviting him to speak at as many Walkaway events as possible, ranging from town halls to rallies, galas. And
he better get to the point here.
I know. That's what I'm like, get to it.
Yeah.
Two legalese. He's writing a script. He pre-planned all of this. It feels very not natural.
I have personally been with Scott Pressler when he registered voters in on the streets.
And putting him front and center.
No diddy.
No diddy, yeah. No, full diddy.
In Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel it?
All right, let's get to it. So he's talking. Okay, I'm skipping around
his work on Fox News.
Yes.
I flew him, all expenses paid, to Michigan to shoot the video, and spent thousands of dollars creating and editing his episode about voter registration, which we pushed out to our over 1 million followers on social media. So, when it appeared to me that Scott was struggling financially, I offered him a paid job with Walkaway as an activism leader, which he politely declined, stating that he had secured his dream job with a state GOP, which didn't seem to come to fruition as far as I could tell. That's
So it's been 4 minutes of basically him
setting it up.
Setting it up, yeah. It better, the payoff better be.
Scott got himself aligned with a manager of sorts who was, to put it mildly, not a good guy. I knew this from my own personal experience, and Scott indicated to me that he was also concerned and wanted out of a signed agreement that he had with this person. Genuinely worried for his well-being, I offered to have my attorney get involved to help free Scott from his contract at my expense. I began to develop a friendship with Laura Trump in early 2019 after she'd seen me in my hour-long interview with Mark Levin on Fox. Laura began to get more involved with Walkaway, and she asked me to speak at a Trump rally in Cincinnati opening for President Trump. A year later, during the 2020 election cycle, I contacted Laura to let her know that I really felt that my friend Scott was not being seen or acknowledged, and that it would mean a lot to me if she would take a meeting with him. She was only partially familiar with him at the time, but told me...
So this has been 4 minutes of him talking about what a great guy he is.
Yeah,
is what I'm getting. I don't even know this guy. I'm not trying to dunk on him, but people are all sending me this video like it's some sort of bombshell. I don't
get what the point is.
I don't get the point. Yeah, is
like
everyone
right away?
Yeah, everyone's broke after the great grift. Yeah, that's what it seems like.
That she'd be happy to speak to him. A week later, Laura contacted me and told me she had just gotten off the phone with Scott and had a great conversation.
So
and from there, they began to build their own relationship, which made me happy. I'm sure you're now abundantly aware of how Scott now references his friendship with Laura on a regular basis.
So
Immediately after the 2020 election is when I started to see a different side of Scott, and I began to question the person that I had previously believed him to be.
Get to the
A
point.
group of over a dozen conservative activists with large social media followings came together to organize rallies in swing states to encourage the public to continue to rally their state legislatures for
This seems like some kind of ex-lover stuff.
Yeah.
forensic.
Chat, is there anything in this? Everyone kept saying that this is like some big deal. I can tell you, I know for a fact Scott Pressler registered voters. If the big reveal is that he didn't register 200,000, he only registered 20,000, I would ask, how many did you register?
Yeah.
Is this people that have seen this? Is there something coming?
Audit of the 2020 election. The idea was that we would all host rallies.
Go to like 10 minutes. Okay.
Thanks, chat. I appreciate
Thank you, chat.
that.
Yeah.
Get more engagement. And there's no risk of potentially saying something that might be unpopular. To make matters even more strange, despite the fact that Scott unambiguously knew that I was hurt and angry by his lack of support, he began showing up in X spaces where I was speaking and coming up to the speaker box and participating in the conversation without ever acknowledging that I was there. But what was even more off the wall, Scott was now speaking with a bizarre accent.
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of work in Philly. It is my intent to go to Chicago and Florida and Milwaukee as well, sometime in like the June
That is weird. He doesn't sound like that.
time frame. It's gonna be awesome.
At first, I thought he was kidding, but he wasn't. He was even going on talk shows now and speaking with a completely different voice than how he really talks.
I am so dedicated and
Who cares?
serious to this cause.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, so much for democracy. Oh my gosh.
He does sound. So what? I don't. What is going on
You
here?
guys talk like this. They change
Yeah.
their inflection all the time. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, all right, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
Is he just? Yeah. I've been with
God,
Scott.
he
I've hung out with him.
None
He
of his
sounds like
voice.
this. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like,
He was just trying to figure out his gay voice.
Leopards ate my face, you know?
Then the worst thing I've ever been through happened. In the summer of 2022, the DC courts leaked my sealed documents in my case to the media. These were the documents that included the list of names of conservative activists I'd been asked questions about. But when the media printed their stories, they only said that I provided information about these people in order to get a plea deal, implying that I implicated these people, including Scott, in crimes. Instantaneously, I began receiving literally thousands of messages every day for weeks, calling me a rat, a snitch, an informant, and a traitor to MAGA. Nearly every person.
Did he was a J6 prisoner? Brandon Straka?
yeah, I believe he went through, prosecution by the state.
Okay.
Person whose name was on that list of names came forward to my defense.
Was he a rat? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Why were they
Stating that the
discussing
reports were-
other? Why were they discussing other activists though?
Yeah, that's odd.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Like, why were you talking about other people with the feds?
Right.
Not true, and offering some kind of word of support, except Scott, who remained completely silent as this was happening to me. This is not a friend. This is somebody who wants to make sure that you never get up again. A year and a half passed,
So he's
and I
mad.
continued to be dragged through J6 hell due to the fact that I was also being sued by 8 black and brown Capitol police officers under the KKK Act. This case went on for 2.5 years and cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to get through. But in December of 2023, I won the case and it officially ended. I took to Twitter to announce my victory, and the phrase, "Congratulations, Brandon," began trending for hours. And for the first time
Lucky.
in 3 years, my friend, Scott Pressler, acknowledged my existence publicly.
What is this? So this is a total nothing burger.
Yeah, I don't get it.
So he's butthurt that his friend betrayed him? Is that chat? What am I missing
How
here?
did you betray him?
So let's say he did. Let's say he just ditched him because he didn't want to be associated with him anymore. He used him for social climbing or something like that. So I don't care. This is weird.
Yeah,
When
I
he
don't
went
get
into the comments under my post and wrote the exact phrase, "Congratulations, Brandon," literally wrote the exact words that were trending so that his account would show up under that trend. The final exchange I had with Scott was on September 14th, 2024,
why don't you just block him?
2 months before the election. He texted me to ask if a critical post I had made on X was about him. I responded by telling him it wasn't, but I could understand why he would think it was. And I proceeded to remind him of the many, many things I had done to help him and how in my time of need, I got absolutely nothing from him in return.
Oh,
And despite the
so
fact that Scott
what?
was a leading voice in the Stop the Steal movement leading up to January 6th, and despite the fact that Scott wanted so badly to be front row center next to me on January 6th, and despite the fact that Scott did go to Capitol grounds on January 6th,
There's only a minute left, so I don't know. Is he implying that?
Here.
Yeah, is he about to imply that Scott got a deal?
to this day, he has never said or done a single thing to help the thousands of people who were destroyed by January 6th. He just moved on, which I guess isn't really surprising. In over 4 years, he's never said a single word to acknowledge what happened to me. Scott Pressler is all
So
about
what?
Scott Pressler
So?
and nobody else. I concluded that text message to Scott by saying, the most important thing right now is the election in November. That is precisely the reason I have kept,
This is
and
not-
he's not honest. The work I do is dangerous and intense.
Oh my God! So what a waste! What a waste!
Yeah. I want my time back.
This guy revealed nothing. This is the biggest nothing burger in history. I don't even. So let's say he, like, let's say he lied about the number of people that he registered. So I don't even get it. Who gives a
He's
crap?
still the leading advocate for getting people registered.
Yeah, like,
There was
and it's
no
not
one
even
else to be
close.
thought about when it comes to registering people and being an advocate for registering people than him.
Yeah, this is like, it seems like to me, a guy that is mad that Scott Pressler didn't take him on his come up, that Scott Pressler is more popular than him, and he didn't raise him up. I mean, he may have a valid.
The way he set it up. It's like, I did this for him. I did this for him. I did this for him, and then he's not there for me.
Yeah, who gives
I'm
a
like,
crap?
oh, and again, when you give something to somebody, you shouldn't expect anything back, right? That's and if you do expect something back when you're voluntarily helping and giving someone something back, it looks kind of petty when you're like, I want something back. And I'm like, okay, then it really wasn't that genuine, was it? Like,
Yeah, you weren't helping then, were you?
yeah.
Like, if you expect to be paid back for doing it, then you weren't. You were doing it with the sole intent of getting something in return. Then that's not a favor.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't really know. You should delete this. I should delete a post that tells the truth. But what? The truth is, if you tell, yeah, the truth is that, okay, he was a bad friend to you. Don't care. Literally don't care.
Yeah, this is personal drama that shouldn't be politicized and for everyone to see. This should be a phone call or text message privately.
Or you could just call him a piece of garbage friend and move on. This is an attempt to smear Scott Pressler.
Yeah.
With zero evidence other than this guy's feelings got hurt.
Yeah. Well, I had drama in this movement throughout my 21 plus years in it, and there's people that screwed me over. There's people who like stole from me. There's people who lied to me.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Did I ever there's people that screwed me over a few months ago, by the way. Like, effed me up financially, significantly, right?
Yeah.
But then I'm like, okay, do I want to just seem like I just want to drama and I just want to fight and I just want to be...
I'm going to remember this, Luke, when you get I'm going to be like, remember that time that the IRS was breathing down your neck and I gave you that job? Well, Luke, if you ever get popular, you better make sure I get just as popular. Otherwise, I'm going to put out a video about you.
Yeah. Well, there's two types of people. There's you that actually helped me out, right? That are like, hey, I'll give you an opportunity to actually make some money, which I appreciate, and you've been solid on that. And then there's other people that were pretending to be my friend that just literally screwed me over, screwed me over, and hurt me that much more, almost to fully take me out. As I was telling them, hey guys, I'm
a lot of people don't know Luke was on the brink.
Yeah, I'm on the brink of not surviving at all.
Yeah, like
I'm living underneath the bridge, like literally.
Yeah.
And then this major, person screws me over. But you know what? Am I gonna bitch and moan and waste my audience's time about something that really isn't relevant to their life, or am I gonna cover some of the most important stuff that I think people should know about in order to use in their lives to get an informed kind of conscious decision. That's what I decided to focus on rather than focus on drama.